Everyone. Welcome and thanks for joining me on this rainy day here where I am in Dallas, Texas. But we are getting ready for spring and we have some spring floral that we're going to make a beautiful tulip wreath with today. So I have all kinds of tips and tricks. I'll definitely show you how to make some bows for your wreaths, and I'll definitely show you how to attach some of these different elements so that you can make a really pretty spring wreath. But I also want to let you know that I have a class tomorrow on paint pouring. So if you've ever wanted to try to paint pour, tomorrow's the day. And then next week I have a class where I'm going to teach dot painting. Next week, in case you don't know, is Pi Day, and I'm a former math teacher, so I love, love, love pi. And I'm going to use some of my math talents in order to create a beautiful mandala. We'll make little magnet-sized versions of that. And also next week, we're going to be etching on glass. So we're going to create some really pretty glasses that have some different etching on it that might be nice for an upcoming wedding, shower, party, any kind of special occasion like that. But today's focus is the tulip wreath. So I'm going to show you a bunch of the supplies that you'll need. Of course, to get us started, we'll want the grapevine wreath. So I have an 18-inch grapevine wreath. Now, grapevine wreaths come from nature. And they're formed into this. So they're not always going to be perfect circles. You might notice that mine is giving some oval. You'll also want some tulips. Now at Michael's, we have really affordable, beautiful colors of tulips. There's reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, peaches, creams, everything in between, some whites. There's different sizes of the tulips also, so you can keep that in mind. And then we have lots of different ribbon choices. So I like to have a 2.5-inch wired ribbon, and you can choose something in a burlap, you can choose something in a satin, you can choose something in a canvas. Any wired ribbon that's 2.5 inches is what I'm going to be using. But if you have something a little bit smaller that you think will be cute, that's maybe 1.5 inches, we can make that work also. Or if you have some tulle or some burlap, we can also end up making that into a really nice bow too. So we'll make lots of adjustments so that you can have lots of different choices to really personalize this wreath and make it your own. The only other tools you might need are some wire cutters, and I like to use this paddle wire, but even if you don't have paddle wire, you can always use twist ties, or you could even use pipe cleaners in order to attach some of the different elements and keep them onto your wreath. So we have our grapevine base, and that's what we're going to begin with. And like I said, your grapevine might be its own thing. So kind of see where you think it's going to hang naturally on your door. And because it's an oval, I think I'm going to put it like this. And then we have a couple of upgrades to just the tulips and ribbon will make a really beautiful wreath. And that was what was in the shopping list. But if you want to add a little bit of greenery behind your tulips for an extra pop, we'll put that link in the chat also for you to see that. So I'm going to start off by taking 2 pieces of greenery off this bigger bush. And if you don't have the greenery, it's okay. You can start with us on the next step with the tulips. But if you do have something kind of to give us a nice greenery base, why I use wire cutters is because all the faux floral is wire based. So I'm going to cut one of these stems off. And this is a hanging bush that we have. And so it makes for a really nice long piece that we can definitely sculpt along our grapevine. And I'm really just going to cut one other one to give me that base to start with. If you don't have greenery, you can start the next step with us with just adding the tulips, but I think sometimes the greenery just gives it that extra little bit of pop. I'm going to make an asymmetric wreath because I've been seeing a lot of those hanging, and I think that's really a cool style that people are going for right now. And what that means is it's going to be off balance. I'm going to have all my floral over here, and this side is going to be a little bit more bare. So after I've cut these stems off, I'm going to place them and kind of mold them around the grapevine to give me a nice base to kind of push some of the other flowers into. And then in order to keep it secure, I'm going to take a piece of this wire wherever the start of this wire is. I will find it. There it is. And I'm going to cut a piece of wire. I'd say that this is about 6 inches, which is more than enough. And I'm using brown wire because I have this grapevine wreath that's brown, and I know it's going to kind of create some invisibility. But I'm going to take one of these pieces I just cut, and the goal is to attach what I just cut of greenery using this wire. So I'm going to slip this wire over the greenery and through a couple of rings of my grapevine. And because this wire is brown, you can't even really see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to twist it like a twist tie, and then just kind of hide those extra tails from my wire. And now this is nice and secure down here, so it's not going to pop off. And you probably only need to attach it maybe one other place or two if you want to be super secure and you want it in a specific place. So if I want this bunch to kind of lay nicely right here, I'm going to use my wire to help me out with that. And I'm going to take my wire through the greenery and then also through the grapevine and find that wire coming back through on another side and give it a good twist. And all of this is creating a nice base for me to then build in my tulips. And you don't have to stick with just tulips. If you'd like to venture out into other colors of flowers or other types of flowers, you can. But tulips are always a great spring choice, I think. So that's just 2 pieces of secure wire, and this is nice and tight and it's not going anywhere. Obviously, since this is sticking out and so is this one, we can do 2 at a time right here. And I'm going to twist these 2 together. And then I'm going to twist the 2 of them onto the grapevine. And I can even take a wider piece of the grapevine to twist through in order to secure those. Now, sometimes you don't want to secure the greenery because sometimes you want the greenery to kind of flop around and maybe dance in the wind if you have any wind. And depending on how windy it is near you or how much movement you want on your wreath, that can determine how much wire you want to add. So I'm going to add one more piece of wire up here, and then I think I have a nice secure base of greenery to build with my tulips. And none of this is permanent, which is nice. I could cut these wires, and if I decide I don't want to use this greenery, I want to use eucalyptus, or I want to use maybe feathers instead, you can change all of that out because there's nothing permanent. So now that I have this, I'm going to go to one of my tulips, and I think that I'm kind of deciding, I love these. They're like pink and yellow multicolor. And then I have some solid yellow. I'm going to turn that, see if you can see the colors a little better. There we go. So I really love these multicolor ones, and I really love these yellows. And probably 2 bushes is all you need. If you have 3, even better, but I bet you could get away with just 2 bushes because each one of these bushes has all these different stems. So again, I'm going to go with my wire cutters, and I'm going to separate these stems so that I have individual pieces or individual clumps. Then I can kind of decide where I want to place them, and I can kind of keep my colors even and how I want them to look. So a wire cutter is usually better than scissors because these are wires you're cutting through, and you could potentially mess up your scissors, or it would be harder with scissors than wire cutters. But you could make that happen if you need to. And I'm cutting all of these off from the stem. And just so that you see, this stem is full of wires, and also like it's kind of like a wax coating. So if you're having a hard time getting through, especially if you're down here, you kind of want to snip a little bit to get the wax coating off, and then you can get to the actual wires. So that might be helpful for you if you're actually trying to get through something much thicker. So now that I have a handful of stems, I'm going to lay them out and kind of get a general idea of where I want them to be. Eventually, we'll definitely be hiding all of this and putting ribbon over it, but I'm going to be building on this left-hand side, and I am going to leave this side blank to make that asymmetric. And right now I'm just having my yellow. You can follow the curve of the wreath, or you can kind of continue out in a straight line and make like, oh, what do you call that? What's that called when you have on your table? What is that called? That's going to drive me crazy. A spray. That's what it is. You can have a nice spray of flowers in a line going out, or you can follow the curve of your grapevine, whichever you prefer. So I already am starting to have some nice color with this one little bushel of tulips. And I kind of like what's happening already. And I am going to add in another one of these colors by taking each of these stems and separating them all the way at this base using my wire cutters. So one of our next important questions that I'll have you start thinking about is, what ribbon would you like to see me try to use to create a bow? Would you like to see like this blue, this orange, maybe a smaller burlap? I'm curious what color you'd like to see me kind of put with these pinks and yellows. So if you have an idea, throw that in the chat for me. If you think one of those is going to look nicer than the other, and we can test out some different things. Ooh, we got one vote for each so far. Everybody better put their vote in. It's a tight race. Looks like we're going to have to try a couple and see what we end up liking the best. So now these yellow don't have to all stay in one clump. I like to kind of put some of the other colors within what I already have. So maybe a couple of these multicolors are going to come closer in. And then maybe I'll have a multicolor at the top too. And like I said, you can follow the curve, or if you don't want to follow the curve, you can kind of have a spray coming out this way, like a straight line, and that gives another interesting element. We're going to place our bow here, but if you've been to Michael's lately, you can find lots of wooden letters. So maybe if you want to have the letters with your family's name on them, or you can find bunnies. You can find some different picks that say different sentiments like Happy Easter and things like that. Spring is here, welcome, any of those kinds of wooden words could also make a nice placement over here. So I'm seeing a lot of burlap, a lot of orange, and a lot of blue, which is good because those were the colors I was going with too. So once we secure kind of the placement of these right now, I'm going to follow the curve so that it stays in my camera view. Then I will give all of these a try because I will want to show the ribbons more than once so that you can make sure that you understand how to make your own bows. And unlocking bow making is awesome. Then you'll never have to buy another bow and you can always make whatever color you want. So I did think ahead, and I do already have an orange one, and I do already have a burlap one. So I'm going to go ahead and make live with you a blue one, and then we'll kind of place each one of those and decide which one we actually like the best. So I'm going to put my wreath to the side and give myself plenty of space to be able to show you how to make a really nice bow. Lots of ways to make bows, but I think that this is one of my favorite because I think it's one of the easiest. So the ribbon I have is wired, which means that there's wires on either side of here. And the reason why that's important is because once we make these beautiful loops, we'll want to puff them out and do different things with them. And so that wire adds a little bit of structure and helps us hold whatever kind of bow formation we make. This is 2.5 inch, but you can make a smaller one. If you want to use 1.5 inch, you can do that. And like I said before, you can also use tulle or basically any other things you have around that you're ready to use. So I'm going to measure. I have a ruler that is 18 inches long. And I'm going to do 2 lengths of 18, which gives me my 36 inches. And that's the length I'm going to cut. So I cut 36 inches. And this is my favorite kind of bow because I do think it's one of the easiest ones to make. So you have these 18 inches. You can fold it in half and see where the middle is. So here's where my center line is. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the two ends and you're going to cross the two ends below that center line, something kind of like this. Kind of looks like the collar of a shirt. So if you can cross those near the center, and then I'm going to take my scissors away, and where those cross right there, we're going to take our fingers and we're going to scrunch this together. So you're just making these two lovely big loops and you have a little bit of tail hanging down. And I just scrunched this all up in the center with my fingers. And I'm going to take a piece of my wire. Is my volume okay for everybody else? Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, thank you. And so I'm going to take a little wire. If you don't have wire, great, thank you. You can also use pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are going to work well. It's okay if your wire shows right here because we're going to cover it again. So just to show you, I had my 18 inches. I found the center. I kind of marked the center just roughly with my scissors. And then I crossed the bows. And it makes like a collar. And you're crossing them at that center point. And however long you want the tails of your bow to be is kind of how much you cross, and how big you want the loops to be is how much you leave with your loops. And then you scrunch everything in the center together. And then I'm going to take my piece of wire and I'm going to wrap it around nice and tight. And that's one set of loops for your bow. Now you can be satisfied with this because this is absolutely adorable already, but I am going to go ahead and make another set of loops. So I'm going to cut the same amount. I'm going to cut still the 36 inches. Ooh, there we go. And I'm going to do the same thing, but maybe this time I want my loops to be a little smaller so that I can stack the two bows on top of each other. And maybe the tail this time is going to be longer. So here's where my center is. I'm going to take each side and I'm going to cross them over. And this time I'm going to make my loops a little smaller and I'm going to make my tails a little bit longer. And when I have that where I want it, I'm going to scrunch it down into the center and stack that on top. I love that. It's so adorable. Just these two very, very simple bows are absolutely adorable. And it probably would have been better if I cut my ribbon before I did this, but luckily I can work with both hands. And I have a little bit of wire here that when I scrunched that together, I was able to twist it with this wire and keep it nice and in place where I want it. Now I did tell you that you can use pipe cleaner, and don't worry if your wire is showing because I'm going to show you how to clean all that up and make a nice fresh look at the end. When I have these two bows, I can place them on top of each other, and with that extra bit of wire, you can kind of stack the bows and attach them to each other. And then because the ribbon itself is wired ribbon, what that means is I can make these loops really pop. I can go in there with my fingers and make them thicker, or make them placed above, or make them placed below, but they make a really beautiful bow so far. And then I like to pay attention to my tails, and I like to stack the two tails on top of each other and make a diagonal cut so that they both have a nice look at their bottom. Because right now it's pretty rough on the bottom. I'm going to take a nice pair of scissors and I'm going to cut diagonally. And then that's going to give a really nice, again, polished look. And you can make it so that they both go the same direction. You can make it so that they go towards each other or away from each other. And I'm going to do that with the bottom set of tails also. I'm going to line those up together. And then I'm going to cut on the diagonal. There we go. And those ones are a lot smaller. So if I wanted to, I could put the smaller tails in the front or the longer tails in the front, whichever way I like. And I'm going to take one more step with this bow to finish it off. I'm going to take a piece, I think it's going to be about 10 inches of ribbon. And I'm going to cut this. And this is going to be kind of like that polishing loop that goes over. And I do think I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take this polishing loop and I folded that piece of ribbon in half so that it wasn't so thick. And then I am going to tie this ribbon just like I would like a square knot on the back. Yeah, I really like this color. I think it's so pretty. This blue is beautiful. And there we have it. So then you can kind of just go back through with your wired ribbon. You have that beautiful finish to your bow. You have two really nice loops. And we can see how that looks on our wreath. So let's go, I'm going to grab my wreath and bring it over and we'll test out some different ribbon colors and see which one you like the best. So here's what we had going on so far with our yellow and our pinks. And then this is the beautiful blue bow we just created. So take a look and tell me if you like this one the best. I also created an orange bow using kind of like a gauzy see-through sheen kind of ribbon. Using that same technique, but it looks very different with this very different style of ribbon. So here's an orange kind of bow I can play around and make the loops look a little better on. And then I also took a piece of burlap and made a nice little burlap, just one, oh, there it is, just one little bow the same way. So I'm curious if you like the burlap, if you like the orange, or if you like the blue the best for this one. So far I'm seeing blue. Oh, I think I agree with you. At first I thought it was going to be the orange, but yep, I think the blue really has it. Now, what is nice is I could put these burlap and blues together, and I think that gives a little sweet country feel to it also. So you can just kind of connect those together using wire if you wanted to keep that pop of burlap in there to make it a little bit country. And then I'm ready to attach anything in here that wants to stay in place using just wire. So I'm going to go back through and I'm going to grab a longer piece of wire. I would guess that this is about 12 inches. And I'm going to go through the back of my bow. And I'm going to take the wire through the back of my bow to create a really long wire right here. Hopefully you can see that. And this is going to wrap all the way around the grapevine wreath to go to the back of the grapevine wreath and attach this bow so that it's not going to go anywhere. You can also choose a bit of wire to wrap around the top of your grapevine wreath to make a hanger so that you can hang it on a hook or on a door. And then you can also choose to take this blue ribbon and make another hanging ribbon right here in order to kind of give that the look also. Maybe I'll sneak this burlap in here too so that we have a little bit of both. I think I like it better under it. And then I'm going to arrange the tulips one last time now that I know exactly where this bow is going to go. That's lovely. I love this blue. That's a good choice. Thank you, everyone. And then I'm just going to kind of find my final placements for my tulips. And at this point, if you want to use hot glue rather than wire, you're welcome to if the wire is getting a little tricky. but I'm going to get some of these flowers a little bit closer to my ribbon now that I know where my ribbon is. And I'm going to stack some on this left side, making this a really nice asymmetric, beautiful wreath. And like I said, you can leave this blank. I love the way it looks already. Or you can add a wooden letter. You can add a little name plate. You can add lots of different things to really make it your own. So I'm just going to do 1 or 2 more pieces of ribbon to kind of make sure all of these tulips feel nice and secure. And that's pretty much the entire process of how to make this tulip wreath. So if anyone has any questions, I'd love to see some in chat that I can go back and explain a couple of things. Or if you've tried this before and have some stumbling blocks, let me know and see if I can help you out with any new tricks or tips that I might have. So I'm going in and attaching some more wire just to keep my tulips exactly where I want them to be. You can also use hot glue if you don't want to use wire. And I'm so glad you were able to join us today. This is a really fun, and you can see it's a pretty simple project. It looks like it's very complicated, but it is a pretty simple project once you get started. So if you end up making one, I'd love to see it. You can use the hashtag #LearnWithMichaels. You can tag us at #LearnWithMichaels, and then I'd love to share some of these wreaths. So the name on our YouTube channel is just michaels.com is our YouTube also. And this video will be available tomorrow. So if you want to go and buy some supplies and watch it again, you should be able to watch it tomorrow. And I can show, I'm getting asked a couple things about bows. So I can show a little bit about that and attaching a hanger ribbon at the top. We can talk about that too before we go. Chanel dropped in the chat some of the YouTube channel so that you can grab that. I love these bows. I think they're so sweet. They just are adorable. So if you wanted to make a hanger with the blue ribbon or with a piece of burlap, it really is just going to be, here's some burlap that I have. I actually cut, this burlap is a little bit wider than the one that was in the shopping list. And so I cut it in half to be about the same size as the one in the shopping list. So if you have a piece, I think this is pretty much that 18-inch magic number I've been using. So you can just slip this through the top and literally just tie a knot with it at the top in order to kind of create a hanger. And if you don't want the burlap hanger to show, then that's where I would use wire on the back. And the way that you can do that is either the same wire I've been using or pipe cleaners. And you're just going to take a handful of this. And because it is the hanger, you probably want to double or even triple up on your wire. Cut yourself a length, attach it through as much of the grapevine as you can for stability. And then there are door hangers. So as long as you have some kind of loop with this wire, you should be able to hang it on a door hanger or hang it on a 3M hook if you're putting it in your house. But I am just twisting this and making sure that I have a loop. That's kind of hard to see, but a loop that you can attach a hook to. You can move it down into here if you want to put the wire in here so that you don't see this hoop at all, or if you need it to hang higher on your house, on your wall, or on your door, you can do that too. So I'm seeing some more questions. It says, when using hot glue, do you apply glue to the back? I actually don't. What's nice about the hot glue is that once it solidifies, it really stays where it is. And I don't think that you'll need any on the back. I think just put it either on the flower itself and then stick the flower in, or a little puddle somewhere in the grapevine and put the flower into the puddle, and that works too. So I'm going to show one more time how to make a bow. And then I think we're going to wrap up unless there are other questions. So I'm going to show this bow technique. I'm going to cut the 18 inches and double that to make 36 inches total. And you can decide how many of these loops you want to make. I'm finding the center of this bow right here. And I'm going to take the ends and cross them over there. Now, if you don't want tails, what you can do is just have loops. And if you don't want to do the same kind of bow that we just made, another option is to keep making loops and gather all your loops in the center. And then you can use that same bit of wire. And again, what's nice about this wired ribbon is that then you can pull these out and fluff them in order to make one of those bows that's a little bit more poofy towards the middle. So a little bit of wire and then poofing those out could make another look using a very similar technique as what we were using before. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again at one of our craft classes. See you soon.